News coming very early this morning that second placed Neutrogena are heading to Invercargill or thereabouts in the south of New Zealand to make a technical pit stop. They have a problem with their engine, unable to charge their batteries and are running on limited power to get there.
Well, it's the last few days the main engine, which is the one is turning the alternators and to charge the batteries, has been not working really well. This morning when we tried to charge batteries, was the engine completely was stopped. It was not the start system doesn't come out, doesn't work. We tried a few solutions. We talked with the shore team in England. It's trying to find what is the problem. But after a few hours, we couldn't find. We don't know exactly if it's an electronic problem or a mechanical problem of the starting engine. We have to make some decisions. In the beginning, I was thinking to go in some of the islands of the Campbell Island or this Auckland Island. These ones are here, but they are uninhabited islands with nothing there. So the best place to go is the south side of New Zealand. We don't have the battery system charging, so we are using the idle generator just to maintain the battery and to make water and to keep the electronic on. The only problem is the conditions now. They are getting worse and worse with a big sea state and more windy, so we cannot use the idle, so we have to economize as much as possible the next 20 or next 40 hours. So we have to hand drive and don't use the electronics. And we have I think we have enough water now. We make water in this afternoon, enough water to arrive to southern New Zealand. We are in contact with the shore team in Far West in England. And while they are this morning, they were all have a meeting and start thinking what's the best solution. Probably they go to calm down a couple guys, and probably some people from New Zealand as well is going to come down to help us. They are just the Rosani, which is the show manager, is putting all the puzzles together and preparing the logistics to do this pit stop and do it as quick as possible. But yes, probably is going to come down some people from England.
So situation pretty clear for Neutrogena this morning, heading towards Invercargill. Guillermo Altadil and Jose Munoz know they're having a race against time. They are 1,100 miles ahead of third place Gaius Centros Auditivos, and the detour is about 550 miles up to Invercargill. So they really need to have a swift pit stop. The engine problem, they have no direct analysis as yet of what the problem is. Guillermo said there that he did not know whether it was a mechanical or an electrical problem. But the team from 5 West in England putting a plan in place, and it should, one would expect them to be able to make a quick turnaround there. Stuart Hosford, the team director, said this morning that it's a precautionary measure. They expect to be back to 100%. So that's Neutrogena. Otherwise, Chamonix Pujola going well, and the lead extending all the time. So in the 3D animation shows Chamonix Pujola still charging along in these strong north or westerly winds. And Neutrogena not too far behind. This is just before they divert towards New Zealand. Then Gaius Centros Auditivos and Renault in good strong northwesterlies also. Renault just jibing there at the limit of the exclusion zone. Gaius now paralleling the exclusion zone down to the southeast. We are water, as we said, good progress. And then Spirit of Hungary still in relatively light northwesterly winds, but the breeze will pick up for them today. There you see at the front of the fleet the diversion this morning, around about 3 o'clock this morning it was, that Neutrogena start heading up towards New Zealand. So the leaderboard this Wednesday, the 11th of February, 9 o'clock this morning. Chamonix-Puigela leading now by over 300 miles as Neutrogena head northeast towards New Zealand for their technical stop. And Chamonix-Puigela making nearly 20 knots this morning. In third, Gaia Centros Auditivos heading to the southeast and making 14 knots. Renault Captur making 18 knots, so catching miles just now. Made about 4 miles in the last 24 hours, so very even between them. We Are Water in fifth at making 15 knots this morning. One Planet, One Ocean, Pharmaton, 13 knots. Spirit of Hungary, 14 knots. And Spirit of Hungary had that technical problem yesterday. Nandor Far reported that they had hit an unidentified floating object in the water. Since then, they had to make a repair to the tie bar on the rudder. The rudder kicked up, and while they had the good weather conditions, they made 1 or 2 other repairs.
We had another very busy day. Early in the morning we hit it at the pool. We don't know what was that big black hard piece, not a whale, didn't leave. Something could be a big tree, piece of timber or a barrel or something. The left, the port rudder was broken. Not the rudder, just the fuse screws. The rudder saved, but unfortunately the tie bar was broken, and we had to repair, laminate the tie bar, and change the screws. So the whole day we were working on the rudder system to fix, and we had to work on the buttons. We had some chafing, and unfortunately these buttons are shaped a little bit the carbon standing rig in some parts, and we had to make some protection on the buttons not to make damage on the sails and on the standing rig. We had to isolate the fleet broadband antenna because there was some seawater in the connection piece. That is why it didn't work today. We could take off this connection and clean up, put some sealant, and put that on the place. Now it is working. The whole day we were working. It was fortunately a nice day. Since a very long time we had sun. Sunshine and nice warm.
Now we have about 20 knots of wind from the west, and for this night and the next 24 hours we expect that there is a low pressure that is going to pass over us with associated front, and we expect that this night will be a difficult night with a strong wind, about 40 knots of wind and maybe gusts of 50-55 knots depending on the quarter. So now we are resting, we are waiting for these weather conditions, and we're preparing the boat for the next hours. We will safe sailing in the north of exclusion zone because we know that Marcel and the race management, they have been working a lot of time about the limit of the exclusion zone to be safe, but it's possible that there's some icebergs or growlers that go out of the exclusion zone. We had a warning yesterday night about from the race management about this situation, that we had maybe possible growlers in front of our route, so we changed it a little bit just in case, because there is no need to have any risk, additional risk, because we had 10 degrees water, no? So we are in contact with the race management, and we are very confident with this, and I think there is no problem with it. Our boat is a 14 years old boat, so the cockpit is a little bit different from the design of the new boat. If it was possible, maybe I would change the back of the cockpit. I would make it open instead of closed, because when we have a lot of water, then the water goes out easy. And also, what is very important is maybe I would make a extended roof that could permit us to drive without being wet and without feeling the freezing wind of the southwest.
One Planet, One Ocean's Alish Gelabert then saying that they're looking towards and preparing for these big winds tonight, up to 55 knots in the gusts expected, averaging 40 knots, so probably the strongest winds they've had yet in the south for this rookie team on their first round the world race. They've both done the mini transat before, but this will be a new experience for them. Otherwise, he said that they're pretty confident in Marcel Van Triest's work and race management's work in tracking the ice. They made a small detour yesterday just to be doubly sure about any possible growler activity on their route. And he also spoke about protection, how much they would like a pull-back coach roof, such as the newer generation's boat, which allows you to steer from a protected position. So that's Alish on One Planet, One Ocean. Otherwise, in the fleet, well, things improving in the sense that their lead is extending all the time for Chemini Pujola. Gaia Centris Auditivus, well, they must be thinking about a possible second place. The race comes alive again for them. Renault Captur, well, they're going nice and quick this morning. 18 knots, they've had their ups and downs as well. And Spirit of Hungary, well, the reminder then in both senses at both ends of the fleet that this is a mechanical sport, that things can go wrong. Spirit of Hungary had that rudder problem, which they managed to sort out fairly quickly. Nandor Fa, of course, built the boat, or many parts of the boat himself, with some help. And Conrad Coleman, of course, also extremely experienced. So they took advantage to fix one or two other problems at the time in the good weather.
Hi everybody, today a lot of news in the Barcelona World Race. We first have Chemini Pujola, who managed to sail half of the race since last night. At midnight they did 11,790 miles, which means they went on the top of the mountain and now they're gonna go down all the way back to Barcelona. So we see here Chemini Pujola. They have a high pressure in the north on the southern island of New Zealand. So they want to stay away from this and they're going to sail underneath and keep this pressure in those sails, 25 knots. They're doing a good boat speed with up to 20 knots of boat speed. And the wind is expected to blow a little bit more strongly in the next hours. They managed to sail the fastest in the last 24 hours. They sailed 460 miles in 24 hours. So good speed for those guys. Just behind them, we can see Neutrogena here. Neutrogena, unfortunately, had an engine failure today. Earlier today, we received an email at the race management, and they told us that they had to head now to New Zealand, to the southern island, to try to fix the problem. So, shocker for us and for the race, but we are sure they will come back in the race soon. Behind them, we can see Gaes. Gaes is in between two weather systems. They have a big high pressure here, and the south, they have a low pressure. So they managed to get the wind from this low pressure on the edge of the exclusion zone. Gaes is having 22 knots of wind in the northwest direction, and the wind is expected to pick up in the day, as long as they're going to keep diving southeast. Renault Captur managed to cross Cape Leeuwin last night at 11:15 UTC. So after a jibe, they crossed this longitude and now heading in the same weather system as Gaes, heading towards the southeast. Renault Captur is doing a good speed of 16 knots and they have 20 knots of wind. We Are Water is just ahead of a cold front and they have a bit of wind here, up to 30 knots of wind, so pretty strong conditions. Those guys are heading towards the east, ahead of the cold front, but with the low pressure, with the wind. So good boat speed for them and good conditions. At the back of the fleet of the Barcelona World Race, we can see here One Planet, One Ocean Farmaton. They jibed in the night and now they're heading towards the southeast. They have a 16 knots of wind and they're doing actually 30 knots of boat speed. Right behind One Planet, One Ocean, we can see Spirit of Hungary. Spirit of Hungary is experiencing a low pressure in the south, giving them some wind on the edge of the border of the exclusion zone. And they're having 20 knots of wind, expected to be picking up a little bit as well, and they're doing good boat speed of 50 knots. Thank you.